Level 1 Potato Handler. You don't enter the potato chips factory through the place. Customers imagine you enter through the receiving area, where the air smells like damp soil, cardboard, cooking oil, and plastic packaging waiting to be used later. Before a bag of chips becomes something light, salty, and easy to tear open on a couch, it begins here as weight. Trucks arrive with potatoes still carrying traces of the field. Pallets of seasoning, oil containers, empty bags, cartons, and labels wait under cold industrial lights. Your first job is simple: move, scan, check, separate, and stage. But simple does not mean unimportant. One wrong lot of potatoes can affect the line. One pallet stored in the wrong place can slow production. One damaged bag of seasoning can create problems that do not appear until much later. The forklift beeps behind you. The floor feels slightly dusty under your shoes. Workers move fast, already familiar with the codes, the pallets, the doors, and the rhythm of deliveries. You are still learning where everything belongs outside. Someone will open a bag, hear the loud crackle of the package, eat one chip, then another, and barely think about the factory behind it. They will not picture your gloves touching rough potato sacks, your scanner chirping at lot numbers, or the nervous pause you feel before sending materials toward the line. At the bottom of the system, the snack does not feel fun yet. It feels heavy, dirty, and easy to get wrong. Convenience begins as inventory. Crunch begins as raw potatoes. Flavor begins as boxes of powder waiting in storage. And as another pallet rolls toward the washing line, you ask yourself, how many people stand behind one bag of potato chips? Level 2 Washing Line Worker. Now you move from the receiving area to the washing line, where the potatoes stop being cargo and start becoming food. The room is louder, wetter, and colder than you expected. Water rushes through steel channels. Conveyor belts shake under the weight of rolling potatoes. The floor is slick in places, and every step makes you more aware of your boots, your balance, and the speed of the line. Your role is to watch the potatoes as they move through washing, tumbling, and inspection, making sure dirt, stones, damaged pieces, and anything that should not continue forward is caught before the next stage. At level 1, a mistake could still sit on a pallet here. It moves with the water. The potatoes roll past so quickly that your eyes have to learn a new rhythm. A dark bruise, a broken piece, a small stone, an odd shape, each one can become someone else's problem if you miss it. You begin to understand that the crispness people love starts long before hot oil. It starts with cleaning, sorting, and removing what the customer should never see. The machines do most of the forceful work, but the line still depends on human attention. Water sprays against metal. Workers use short gestures because the sound is too loud for long explanations. When the belt slows for a moment, everyone notices. The factory does not like hesitation, but rushing dirty or damaged potatoes forward is worse. Outside, chips feel clean, golden, and effortless. Here they begin wet, rough, and covered in the memory of the field. And once the potatoes are washed and ready, the next level brings you closer to the blade, where one thin slice can decide whether a chip becomes crispy or useless. Level 3 Slicing Operator. At level 3, the factory becomes sharper. You stand beside the slicing section, where clean potatoes move toward machines that turn them from heavy, irregular vegetables into thin pieces that must behave the same way in hot oil. The air is cooler than the frying area ahead, but the tension feels higher because this is where shape becomes destiny. Your role is to watch the sliced potatoes as they come through. Too thick, and they may cook unevenly; too thin, and they may burn, break, or vanish into useless fragments before they ever become chips. At level 2, you are protecting the line from dirt and damaged potatoes. Here, you are protecting the future crunch. The slices move fast, pale, and wet, sliding onto the conveyor in a stream that looks simple until you notice small differences. One section looks uneven. One potato produces slices that curl too much. One batch begins to show more broken pieces than expected. You do not touch the blades. You do not treat the machine like something casual. You watch, report, separate, and react. When the pattern changes, a supervisor points toward a tray of slices that looks slightly too thick, and suddenly every piece passing in front of you feels important. Outside, customers only care about the final bite. Light, crispy, salty, satisfying. Inside, you learn that crunch can be lost before the chip ever reaches the fryer. The blade does not just cut potatoes. It decides how every piece will meet heat, oil, seasoning, packaging, and finally, the customer's hand. And once you understand how fragile a slice can be, the next level pulls you into the hottest part of the factory, where seconds can turn pale potato into perfect chips or burnt waste. Level 4 Frying Technician. At level 4, the factory turns hot. You step near the frying area and feel the temperature change before anyone explains your job. The air smells like oil, steam, salt, and cooked potato. Metal conveyors carry thin slices toward the fryer, and the pale pieces disappear into a controlled rush of heat where their color can change in seconds. Your role is to watch the flow, the timing, the color, the oil behavior, and the way slices move through the system without clumping, sticking, or cooking unevenly. At level 3, the slice decided the future of the chip. Here, the fryer decides whether that future survives. Too long, and the chip becomes dark, bitter, and useless. Too short, and it leaves soft, heavy, and disappointing. If the line moves unevenly, one section may come out perfect, while another looks wrong. You listen to the sound of oil and machinery until it becomes part of your focus. The room is louder than you expected, hotter than you want, and faster than your nerves are ready for. When a group of slices begins to bunch together near the entrance, your body reacts before your thoughts finish. A technician steps in, the flow is corrected, and the line steadies again. Outside, a chip is just a small crunch between two fingers. Inside, that crunch is created under heat, pressure, and constant attention. You look at the golden chips leaving the fryer and realize they have crossed the most dangerous transformation in the factory. But they are not finished yet, because a plain chip may be crisp, but the next level decides whether someone reaches into the bag again. Level 5 Seasoning Worker. At level 5, the chips finally become the thing people crave. They leave the fryer golden, light, and fragile, still carrying the heat of oil, and move toward the seasoning drums where flavor turns a simple slice of potato into a snack people cannot stop eating. The air changes here. It smells like salt, barbecue powder, cheese seasoning, sour cream, onion, spice, and warm cooked potato. Fine seasoning dust hangs under the lights and settles on gloves, sleeves, and machine edges. Your role is to watch the coating, how much seasoning falls, how evenly the chips tumble, how quickly the drum turns, and whether the flavor lands on the chips instead of disappearing into waste. At level 4, heat created the crunch. Here, seasoning creates the memory. Too little, and the chip feels plain, too much, and the flavor becomes harsh, salty, or fake. If the drum turns too aggressively, chips break. If the flow is uneven, one handful tastes perfect, and the next tastes empty. You begin to understand that the first bite is a promise. The customer tears open the bag and expects an instant hit, salt, crunch, flavor, satisfaction. They do not know about the worker watching orange powder fall at the right pace, or the nervous pause when the seasoning pattern looks wrong. When a section comes through too pale, you call it out, and questionable chips are pulled before they reach packaging. The factory wants speed, but flavor needs control. And once you learn how to protect the taste people remember, the next level asks whether the chips are truly good enough to leave the line. Level 6 Quality Inspector. At level 6, you step away from the heat and seasoning dust into the quality area, where the chips are no longer just moving product, they are evidence. Samples are pulled from the line and placed under bright white lights, where every flaw becomes easier to see. Chips too dark, chips too pale, broken pieces, uneven seasoning, excess oil, wrong weight, weak crunch, strange color, or anything that does not belong in the bag. Your role is to judge what the factory wants to send forward. At level 5, flavor made the chips memorable here. You learn that memory is useless if the product is inconsistent. A bag can look full but contain too many broken pieces. A chip can look golden but feel stale or oily. A seasoning batch can smell right but taste too sharp. You pick up a sample and feel how fragile it is between your fingers. One careless movement can break it. And that is exactly the problem. The customer expects lightness, but the factory must protect that lightness through machines, belts, drums, and bags. Production wants the line moving, Packaging wants product, distribution wants cases. But your job is to stop doubt before it becomes a customer complaint. When one sample tray shows too many dark chips, the room gets quieter. No one wants a hold. No one wants a delay. But you mark the issue anyway, because quality is not there to make the factory comfortable. It is there to protect the promise inside every bag. And once you learn how to question the chip itself, the next level brings you to the final barrier between crunch and the outside world, the package. Level 7. Packaging Technician. At level 7. The chips become something the customer can actually buy. You move to the packaging line, where golden chips fall from overhead weighers into open bags that appear, fill, seal, and move forward faster than your eyes want to follow. The room is cooler than the fryer area, but the noise is sharper. Plastic snapping, bags sliding, seal bars closing, cartons forming, alarms chirping when something falls out of rhythm. Your role is to watch weight, bag fill, seal strength, air protection, code printing, and carton flow. At level 6, quality judged the chip itself. Here, you learn that even perfect chips can fail if the bag fails around them. A weak seal can steal the crunch. A wrong weight can break trust. A faded code can create a traceability problem. A crushed bag can make the product look careless before anyone tastes it. You watch one bag puff slightly as it leaves the machine, light and fragile, designed to protect something even more fragile inside. Then the line stutters. One bag catches near the seal bar, another comes out wrinkled, and questionable packs are pulled aside before they reach the carton station. Nobody at home thinks about this moment. They only hear the crackle of the bag opening and expect crisp chips inside. But here, that sound depends on plastic, pressure, heat, timing, and a worker watching for small failures at high speed. By the end of the shift, you understand that packaging is not decoration. It is the last wall between crunch and air. And once the bags are sealed, boxed, and stacked, the next level asks whether you can manage the entire factory rhythm that made them possible. Level 8, Production Supervisor. At level 8, the potato chips factory no longer reaches you as one station. It reaches you as an entire shift trying to stay alive, under speed, heat, water, oil, seasoning, packaging, and deadlines. You walk the floor with a radio on your belt, a schedule in your hand, and the constant sound of machines pressing into every decision. The receiving area is waiting on another potato lot. The washing line is reporting more damaged pieces than expected. The slicer needs attention because too many broken slices are appearing. The fryer cannot slow down without affecting everything behind it. Seasoning wants a quick adjustment. Quality is holding a sample tray. Packaging wants to know when the next approved flow will arrive. At level 7, you protected the bag. Here, you protect the whole chain that fills it. Your role is to keep people, machines, ingredients, oil temperature, quality, and shipping targets moving together. It sounds like control, but it feels more like being pulled from every side. If you push faster, chips may break or burn. If you slow down, the schedule slips. If you ignore a worker who looks exhausted, the next mistake may come from fatigue. If you stop too long for inspection, someone above you asks why output is falling. When a small issue appears near the fryer, you choose to slow the line long enough to prevent a worse batch problem. Some workers look relieved. Others look at the clock. Nobody celebrates a decision that costs time, even when it protects the product. By the end of the shift, you realize supervision is not standing above the factory. It is standing in the narrow space between speed and damage. And once you learn to carry one shift, the next level pulls you beyond the line into the warehouse and distribution system that decides whether every sealed bag reaches the shelf intact. Level 9, Snack Distribution Manager. At level 9, the chips are no longer moving through oil, seasoning drums, or packaging machines. They are moving through space. You stand inside a finished goods warehouse, where sealed cartons are stacked high on pallets, each one filled with bags that look light, but are easy to crush, easy to mishandle, and expensive to replace when damage spreads through a shipment. The air smells like cardboard, plastic, and faint seasoning that somehow escapes the production floor and follows the product into storage. Forklifts move between aisles, trucks wait at the dock, screens show inventory levels, delivery windows, retail orders, route schedules, and which flavor needs to reach which region before shelves go empty. At level 8, you carried the factory shift. Here, You carry everything after the factory, where a perfect bag can still fail if it arrives crushed, late, or in the wrong place. Your role is to balance volume, timing, storage, transportation, and demand. Potato chips are strange to move because they are light but bulky, fragile but sold in huge quantities. A truck may be full before it is heavy. A pallet stacked badly can damage the bags below. One late delivery can leave a convenience store shelf empty during the exact weekend when people want snacks. One bad forecast can fill a warehouse with the wrong flavor while the popular one sells out somewhere else. You begin to understand that snack distribution is not just shipping, it is protecting appetite before it disappears. People do not plan deeply for chips. They see them, crave them, grab them, and move on. If the bag is not there in that moment, the brand loses the impulse. You look at a pallet of cartons ready for loading and remember every level behind it. Potatoes, water, blades, oil, seasoning, inspection, packaging, supervision. All that work now depends on warehouse handling, truck timing, shelf space, and the quiet accuracy of your decisions. And once you understand how hard it is to put the right bag in the right place, the final level asks what kind of craving the brand is really trying to sell. Level 10 Potato Chips Brand Owner. At level 10, the factory noise is gone, but the pressure has not disappeared. It has simply moved into a cleaner room. You sit at a polished table with sample bags of chips in front of you. Sales reports on a screen, flavor test results in a folder, retailer data on a tablet, and packaging mock-ups arranged like the product is easy to control. At level 9, you learned that a bag of chips has to reach the right shelf at the right moment. Here, you decide what that moment is supposed to feel like. Your role is to shape the brand, the flavor, the bag size, the price, the design, the shelf strategy, the promotions, the margins, and the promise people feel when they tear open the package. Around you, people speak in business language: more crunch, stronger flavor, lower cost, bigger bag, limited edition, better shelf visibility, higher repeat purchase. But behind every phrase, you now see the ladder you climbed. You remember the potato handler moving heavy, dirty, raw potatoes. Before the snack looked fun, you remember the washing line worker standing in water and noise, protecting the line from what should never reach the fryer. You remember the slicing operator watching thin pieces that could become crisp or useless. You remember the frying technician standing near heat, where seconds changed everything. You remember the seasoning worker protecting the first addictive hit of flavor. You remember the quality inspector holding back products nobody wanted to delay. You remember the packaging technician protecting crunch from air. You remember the production supervisor carrying the pressure of the whole shift. You remember the distribution manager trying to get fragile bags to shelves before the craving disappeared. Now, every one of those levels reaches your desk. If you reduce seasoning to protect margin, customers may notice. If you make the bag bigger but fill it carelessly, trust suffers. If you chase a new flavor too quickly, production may struggle to repeat it. If you promise fun while hiding the pressure behind it, the product becomes easier to sell than to respect. The bag in front of you looks light, colorful, and simple. That is what makes it powerful. It hides soil, water, blades, oil, heat, seasoning dust, fragile packaging, truck routes, shelf competition, and human labor inside something people can finish without thinking. You began at the bottom, where chips were just potatoes, pallets, and dirt. You end at the top, where chips become strategy, appetite, and habit. The product is never just a snack. It is labor, speed, timing, risk, and craving compressed into a bag. So when the next meeting asks whether the chips should be cheaper, louder, saltier, bigger, or easier to sell, the real question is not only what makes people reach for the bag, the real question is who carries the pressure that makes that bag feel effortless. If you want to see another hidden system from the bottom to the top, comment which factory or global brand we should enter next.